This is the ENGWE L20 2.0, a folding electric bike that actually rides like a real everyday bike. The biggest win for me is how it balances power, comfort, and storage flexibility without getting in my way. I would put this in the commuter and do everything electric bike category. It is for riders who want to hop on and go, not babysit settings or worry about where to park a full-size frame. It fits apartment life, car trunks, and weekend trips, but it still feels substantial on the road. If you want a bike that can handle a grocery run during the week and a dirt path on Saturday without feeling flimsy, this is the kind of machine I reach for. The design looks sturdy in a modern way. The frame has presence, not that toy look some folding bikes have. The folding mechanism is the part that changes daily use the most. The bars fold down with a simple latch, and the center hinge brings the frame in half. I can fold it in under a minute after a couple of tries, which means I actually use the feature instead of avoiding it. The wheels are 20 inches, and the tires are about 3 inches wide. That extra width is what keeps the ride controlled on broken city streets and loose gravel. The rear rack is built in and has proper mounting points. I use it with a small crate, and it holds a day's worth of groceries without wobbling. The fenders are metal. They feel tough and do not crack, but they can rattle on really choppy pavement. I adjusted a couple of bolts and it helped, though on a rocky trail you still hear them a bit. Setup is quick. Out of the box, I was on the path after some basic assembly and a quick brake check. The removable battery sits under the seat. I lift the seat with a lever, slide the battery out, and charge inside. It weighs roughly 10 pounds, so carrying it upstairs is no big deal. The display is color and simple. I get speed, assist level, battery bars, and trip info. On a sunny day with sunglasses, it can wash out a little. I shade it with a hand when I need to. The controls on the bars are straightforward. I never dig through menus for basic things. Lights are wired in. The headlight is genuinely bright for dawn rides, and the tail light gets brighter when I brake, which is the kind of small safety touch I appreciate more than I expected. On the road, the feel is confident. The motor ramps smoothly with pedal assist. The throttle is quick off the line when I need a nudge through an intersection, or when I am just not in the mood to pedal after a long day. The gearing is simple and effective. There are 7 usable gears with a trigger shifter, which is enough to spin at a comfortable cadence on flat ground and to downshift for a climb. The derailleur guard is a nice bit of insurance when I am loading the bike in a trunk. The brakes are mechanical discs. They stop well, though after a wet ride they can squeal a bit until they dry out. That is normal for this style, and it goes away with a little pad bedding. The power system is where this bike feels a step up from typical entry-level commuters. The battery is 52 volts with around 13 amp hours. Translated to real riding, it means stronger support when I push the pedals and more useful range. On a mixed route with rolling hills, mostly in the middle assist level, I can do a long round trip across town and still have juice to spare. With throttle only, the bike hits around 20 miles per hour quickly and holds it steady. With pedal assist on flat ground, I can roll up to around 28 miles per hour when I want to keep pace with faster bike lane traffic. The speed reading on the display sometimes runs about 1 or 2 miles per hour optimistic compared to my phone, so I account for that. The motor itself has a soft whir. On quiet trails, especially at higher assist, you will hear it. It is not loud enough to be annoying in the city, but out in the quiet, it is noticeable. Comfort is better than I expected. The front fork has a lockout for a firmer feel on smooth sections, and the suspension seat post at the back takes the sting out of potholes and cobblestones. Many folding bikes skip rear comfort altogether, so this makes a real difference. The saddle is wide and cushy with an airflow channel that actually helps on hot days. I am 6 feet tall, and the seat post gets high enough that my knee angle is right. The reach feels natural, not cramped. Smaller riders might find it tall. If you are under 5 feet, getting both feet flat while seated may be tough. Just something to think about if you are new to electric bikes. For performance, the important part for me is responsiveness. The cadence sensor picks up my pedaling quickly and adds power without lurching. There is a slight lag when I stop pedaling before the motor fully cuts, a fraction of a second, but it is consistent, so I ride around it without thinking. Climbing short, steep hills, I drop a couple of gears and let assist do the heavy lifting. The bike does not feel like it is straining. On long descents, the frame stays composed. Those 3-inch tires soak up chatter and track well through corners. I tend to run slightly lower tire pressure than the maximum for a more planted feel, and that has been the sweet spot for me on mixed terrain. My real-world testing has been all the usual city life stuff plus a few light adventures. On a weekday, it is a commuter and errand machine. I ride from my place to the train, fold the bars, roll into the elevator, and do the last mile on pedal assist level 2 or 3 without breaking a sweat. I can grab a week of groceries using the rear rack and a bungee net, and the bike stays stable even when the load is a little top-heavy. On weekends, I take it on park paths and light dirt. Those are not technical trails, but they have roots and washboard sections. The bike stays comfortable and, more importantly, it keeps traction. The front fork is not a mountain tool, but for this kind of riding it is enough. When I toss the bike into a car for a day trip, the fold makes it simple. It is not a featherweight at around 60 pounds with the battery, so lifting technique matters, but folded, it fits in a trunk where a full-size non-folding bike simply would not. A specific use case that sold me on it was a sunrise coffee ride across town. I left before dawn with lights on, kept it at an easy assist level to stay warm, and threaded through the morning traffic. The throttle helped clear intersections quickly. The display gave me just enough info to know I was on pace. I locked out the fork on smooth sections to keep things efficient, unlocked it when the road turned rough, and bumped the assist up a notch on the final hill to the overlook. I sat on that wide saddle longer than I expected without numbness. On the way back, I loaded a bag of beans and a loaf of bread on the rack and headed home with clean pants, thanks to those fenders. That is what I mean by real everyday usefulness. The smarter touches are the ones I end up relying on. The integrated rear light that brightens when I brake actually changes how drivers notice me. The removable battery and the under-seat lever make indoor charging part of my routine instead of a chore. The solid kickstand holds the bike steady while I load the rack. The derailleur guard saves me from that sinking feeling when the bike shifts in the trunk. The folding latch is firm and reassuring. It clicks in a way that tells me it is locked without me second-guessing it. The trigger shifter feels precise and does not skip, even after a few bumpy rides. None of these are flashy features, but together they make the bike feel dialed in for daily life. There are trade-offs worth mentioning. The motor has a voice at higher assist. It is not a deal breaker, just part of the character. The mechanical brakes can squeal after rain until they settle. The display can be hard to read in direct noon sun. The metal fenders can rattle on very rough sections. The weight is noticeable when lifting into a car. All of that said, the ride itself feels solid. The power feels more than enough for city and weekend use, and the folding design means I do not have to choose between a capable bike and an apartment-friendly one. If you want a comfortable, sturdy, and practical electric bike that folds for storage but rides like a normal bike, the ENGWE L20 2.0 is a strong pick. It suits commuters, beginners who want a reliable first electric ride, and riders who need one bike for errands and for casual exploring. It is not trying to be a racing machine. It is trying to make daily riding easier, and it does. I reach for it because it lets me ride more and think less, which is exactly what I want from an electric bike. You can find detailed information about the ENGWE L20 2 in the comments section. See you in the next video.